Good morning everyone and very warm welcome to one and all, and welcome back to A Square classes. We have continued to the ecology session still yet, and we have come up to environmental factors or ecological factors. What are those two types of factors I have told you? I have told you abiotic factors and biotic factors. In that abiotic factors, I have told you there are few concepts or there are few important things of abiotic factor, which includes temperature, light, water, salinity, humidity, and many other things. Temperature, I have told you water, I have taught you salinity, I have taught you many other concepts, right? These concepts, when we have seen their effects, their factors, and their association with different organisms. Among this, we have moved on towards the life processes, and we have seen how abiotic factors, how environmental factors affect the life. And I have taught you very importantly the salinity, the concept of salinity in the previous class. Accepted? Yes, we have learned salinity with a clear, detailed way. Then now while teaching to the salinity, I have said you, as we go deeper and deeper in the sea or in the oceanic zone, the amount of oxygen decreases, the amount of light decreases. Got it? So when we go in the depth, we mostly see there is less amount of light which is found in the depth. So what is this light? This is our third, or this is our very important next relevant ecological factor. You can give the heading as the light. As light is the third, or light is the another most important, another most relevant factor which affect light is the most relevant factor which affects what? Which light is the another most relevant factor which affect the life process of living organism. Life processes of living organism. The another most relevant factor which affects the life processes of the living organism. Another one thing is light is, what is light? If the question comes, ma'am, what is light? Light is the visible spectrum or the visible part of electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum of the range of, बताइए रेंज कितना होता है इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम का? कोई जवाब? 390 to 740 नैनोमीटर. Got this? इसमें से जो विजिबल पार्ट होता है, विजिबल पार्ट ऑफ रेडिएशंस अमंग द ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ द रेंज ऑफ 340 to 740 नैनोमीटर इज लाइट. Another thing is the PAR. What is this PAR? किसी को पता है? PAR is photosynthetically active spectrum. Photosynthetically active spectrum. PAR is photosynthetically active spectrum in which basically actually you can take it as, in this range, or this range is suitable for photosynthesis. This range is suitable for photosynthesis. This range is suitable for what? This range is suitable for photosynthesis. And when I have told you light belongs to the spectrum of 390 to 740 of electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic spectrum, what could be the range of photosynthetic actively radiation or PAR? That is 300 that ranges from 400 to 700 nanometer. 400 to 700 nanometer. What I have said you what is light. This is our very third or very relevant important factor of ecological abiotic factor. Clear? Yes. Then I have taught you light is the visible part of electromagnetic spectrum of 390 to 740 nanometer. That was done with you. Okay. And the PAR or the photosynthetically active spectrum in the range is suitable for photosynthesis or 400 to 700 nanometer. Got it? Till where it is suitable? Got that? Yes, this is our PAR, that is photosynthetically active radiation. Before going to this point, I like to tell you, what is actually the range of solar radiation? Solar radiation ranges from, you can take it as solar radiation ranges from the range of 290 to 2600 nanometer spectrum. This much amount of wavelength of the light is radiated from the source of energy, that is sun. Got it? So solar radiation ranges from 290 to 2600 nanometer radiation zone, radiating light. Among this range, we have the visible light as 390 to 740 nanometer, and among this range we have the range for photosynthesis. The zone which is available for photosynthesis is in the range of 400 to 700 nanometer. Got it? Yes. Now, if this is the range, about this range, about the range of light, range or above the range of light, above the range of visible light, above the range of visible light. What did I say? Above the range of visible light is infrared region. Infrared region. और ये visible light का range कितना है? 390 to 740 nanometer. Can you see? दिख रहा है यहाँ पर? देखिए, see here. 390 to 740 nanometer, which is the zone of the light, and it's a visible part, and above this there is an infrared region, or that are also called as heat waves. What it is? You can refer to as heat waves. Got it? Done. Yes. Then comes above the range, below the range of this region, below the range, which region am I talking about? हमारा काम तो इसी में बनता है ना, लाइट के रेंज की बात हो रही है, ठीक है? पल्ले पढ़ने दो और क्लियर होने दो कौन से रेंज की बात हो रही है. ये क्या है? 390 to 740 nanometer. So below the range of light, it is light, it is UV radiation. It is UV radiation. UV radiation, ultraviolet radiation. Got it? Light intensity increases at latitude. As we go higher and higher on the latitude, the intensity of light increases. इसका reason मैंने आपको very third class में पढ़ाया था कि sun rays fall literally vertically to the latitude and obliquely to the most of the portions of longitude. That is the reason we are seeing that the intensity of light, increases with the higher in latitude. Another most important thing is the growth of the plant. The growth of the plant or life, the growth of the plant or life of organism is affected by many of things. is affected by many of things, which includes intensity of light, duration of light, of light and spectrum of light are the darker regions, or they are darker in area. Got it? So यहां तक मैंने आपको बताया क्या होता है लाइट, कौन से पढ़ाए, चलो रिकॉल कर लेते हैं. I have told you light is third most ecological relevant factor of abiotic component, and I have told you it is most relevant, remember that, and which affects the life processes. What are other processes? Which includes growth, photosynthesis, transpiration, many other processes we are going to see just up to now. So I have said you it affects the life processes. Light is the visible part. Now what is light? Light is said as the visible part of electromagnetic spectrum, which range of 390 to 740. इस range में अगर कोई भी object है, we can clearly see. So this is what the visible range of the light. Got it? Then comes the PAR or photosynthetically active spectrum, which most active spectrum or P radiation भी ले लो क्योंकि ये PAR है तो you can write it, the full form of PAR says that, पर ये जो zone होता है उसको spectrum ही बोलते हैं. In this range is suitable for photosynthesis, that is 400 to 700 nanometer. This zone is basically suitable for photosynthesis. Then comes solar radiations. Actually, what is the range of solar radiation? It ranges from 290 to 2600 nanometer. Got it? Radiating light. And the above the range of the visible light, यानी 390 to 740 के range के ऊपर जो भी आएगा, that is called as infrared region, which is heat waves. Below the range of light, it is called as UV radiation. The intensity of light increases as we go higher in latitude. समझ में आया? The intensity, the crowdness of the light increases as we go as of higher in latitude. Then comes the growth of plant or life of organism is affected by intensity of light, duration of light and spectrum of light. Got it? This is what few important concepts among endpoints we have seen. Now we are going to see what are the factors which are affected by the light. So before moving on to the factors which affects the light, or the light is affected by many other life processes, growth, photosynthesis, transpiration, movement, photoperiodism, etc, the whole Ramayana. But before going to those topics, I'd like to tell you, मैंने आपको एक छोटा सा concept पढ़ाया था, stratification. याद आ रहा होगा? Stratification of lake मैंने कुछ ऐसे example के साथ पढ़ाया था, जो था, I have taught you, this is the sun, taught you, imagine this is the condemned area which we are going to see, and then I have taught you different zones. ये diagram कुछ याद आ रहा है? Sun rays यहाँ पे fall होते हैं, कितने deeperly जाते हैं and then reflect होते हैं. Remember, I have taught you this in किसमें पढ़ाया था ये सारी चीजें मैंने आपको? I have taught you in stratification. Stratification of lake. Similarly, मैंने आपको stratification of forest भी पढ़ाया था, but अभी हम aquatic की बात करते हैं. तो stratification of lake मैंने आपको किस basis से पढ़ाया था? तो याद होगा आपको मैंने इसको light के form में पढ़ाया था. याद आ रहा है? Light के हिसाब से हम layers और the lake को कैसे different region में हम इसको segregate करते हैं. याद आया ये diagram? नहीं याद आया? Previous class देखो, previous video देखो. अब अगर हम इसको अच्छे से डेप्थ में बात करें कि हाउ, दैट वाज जस्ट वन एग्जांपल ऑफ लेक ऑफ स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन. नाउ इफ द क्वेश्चन कम्स, व्हाट एक्चुअली दिस लेयर्स आर एंड हाउ कुड बी दिस लेयर्स? दिस कुड बी, अगर इसी जोन की मैं बात करूं तो बेसिकली लाइट का जो जोन होता है ना, जो लेक डीप ओशंस में जो जोन होता है ना, वो होता है बेसिकली इट इज ऑफ टू टाइप. जोन्स ऑफ लाइट is of two types. And what are those zones which includes of two types? That is littoral. याद आया? याद करो क्या था littoral and limnatic. Told you zones of the light which I have told you, littoral and limnatic. Limnatic में मैंने आपको पता है लिम्नेटिक के बाद ही मैंने आपको सीधा प्रोफंडल पढ़ा दिया था। क्यों? क्योंकि अगर मैं उसमें कहती कि फोर्टिक, यूफोर्टिक, डिस्फोर्टिक, ये सारी चीजें आपको कंफ्यूज करती। व्हाई? दैट टाइम वी वाज जस्ट रीडिंग स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन। व्हाट इज स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन? लेयरिंग ऑफ थिंग। जब आप लेयर के फॉर्म में कोई चीज पढ़ते हो तो उसको स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन, वो जो कॉन्सेप्ट था दैट इज नन अदर डिफरेंस देन, ये दोनों कॉन्सेप्ट सेम है बट ये थोड़ा क्लासिफाइड वे में। क्यों? बिकॉज वी आर नाउ मूव ऑन टुवर्ड्स द टॉपिक और अब हम थोड़ा डेप्थ में पढ़ रहे हैं लाइट का क्या फिनोमेना है, लाइट कैसे डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे। दैट वाज जस्ट आई टॉट यू इन दिस स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन, की स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन इसको भी कह सकते हैं। ठीक है, चलो कम हियर। I have taught you zones of light which includes littoral, limnatic and limnatic के तीन parts होते हैं। Photic part, aphotic part, that part where light penetrates of 200 nanometer or 200 meter to the depth. When the range of the wavelength in nanometer penetrate to the depth of 200 meter depth, that is called as photic. Similarly, there is aphotic. Below photic, there is aphotic, and then there comes benthic. Benthic is the deeper most part. Benthic is the deeper or the deepest part where only consumers are there, where, and it is the top, we can write it as also topmost or topmost bottom plant part. Only presence of consumers are seen, only are present here. Well, I have told you photic, I have told you aphotic, I have told you benthic. पहले मैंने आपको बताया जोन्स ऑफ लाइट में टू एक्वाटिक, ये किस में पढ़ रहे हैं पता है? एक्वाटिक ऑर्गेनिज्म में पढ़ रहे हैं, भूलना मत, क्योंकि ये डायग्राम ड्रॉ करा है तो इतना तो क्लियर होना ही चाहिए आप लोगों को। ठीक है, चलो, क्योंकि आप बहुत पढ़ चुके हैं, बहुत आगे आ चुके हैं सिलेबस में। लिंक जोड़ो एक दूसरे से, किधर जा रहे हैं, क्या जा रहा है, क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है आगे का। बी कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड एंड बी फोकस्ड ओवर देयर। गॉट इट? When you understand the previous concept clearly, you will definitely get the next concept in a precise way. Next, I have told you littoral and limnatic. Limnatic, I have told you, it contains three parts, which includes photic, aphotic, and benthic. Photic में मैंने बताया आपको कि where light penetrates 200 meter depth. Got it? And इसी photic में two types होते हैं, which basically includes euphotic and dysphotic. Euphotic and dysphotic. इसका मैं अगर क्लासिफिकेशन आपको इजी वे में क्लासिफाई करके बताऊं तो इट इज लाइक दिस: zones of light, limnatic. Limnatic is classified as photic, aphotic. aphotic मतलब जहां लाइट पेनिट्रेट ही नहीं करता, उसको हम लोग प्रोफंडल बोलते हैं। लिख लो, प्रोफंडल। बढ़ाया था मैंने आपको प्रोफंडल जोन, सीधा ये जोन पढ़ाया था, याद है? स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन में याद आ रहा है कुछ? प्रीवियस क्लास देखो, फोर्टिक, aphotic, and then comes benthic. Photic, aphotic, and benthic. And aphotic involves two things. Aphotic is also called as profundal zone. And photic में मैंने दो चीजें आपको बताई, euphotic and dysphotic. समझ में आया कॉन्सेप्ट? कितना इजी है, कितना ब्यूटीफुल है। स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन हमने वहां पढ़ा था, वो लेयर वाइज पढ़ लिया, इसको मैंने आपको क्लासिफाई करके बता दिया। गॉट इट? फोटिक में मैंने आपको बताया कि वेयर लाइट पेनिट्रेट्स 200 मीटर ऑफ द डेप्थ। और फोटिक में मैंने आपको बताया कि ये प्रोफंडल जोन होता है, यहाँ लाइट पेनिट्रेशन दिखता ही नहीं है। ऑलमोस्ट व्हेन लाइट पेनिट्रेशन स्टॉप्स एट द मोमेंट दैट लेवल लेयर इज कॉल्ड एज aphotic zone. एंड benthic zone is the deepest most part or the deep most part, टॉप, ये बॉटम पार्ट है, ये हमारा जो है बॉटम पार्ट है जहां लाइट पेनिट्रेट ही नहीं होता, प्रोफंडल जोन। ठीक है, और वहीं बेंथिक पार्ट क्या है? वे टॉप मोस्ट बॉटम, एकदम नीचे, जिस सिर्फ कंज्यूमर, माइक्रो कंज्यूमर भी छोड़ दो, आप यहाँ कंज्यूमर लिख लो, बल्कि प्रोफंडल में इजी के लिए कंज्यूमर्स लिख लो, और यहाँ सिर्फ माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स लिख लो। छोटे छोटे जो माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं ना, डेड डिकम्पोजर्स, वो पाए जाते हैं। समझ में आया? क्लियर? कितना इजी और स्पेसिफिक है ये। समझ आना ही चाहिए ये समझ में, बिकॉज दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यू विल गेट क्वेश्चन थ्रू इट, आई नो दिस इज ये और बायोम्स मत छोड़ना। और इस चैप्टर में वो जो पॉपुलेशन वाला कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ेंगे ना इसके बाद, जस्ट 2 क्लास बाद, वो तो रट ही लेना, नहीं समझ में आए तो रट लेना, बल्कि बिकॉज इट इज एक्चुअली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट उसका इक्वेशन। और अगर एम्स वगैरह एम्स वेम्स दे रहे हो तो फिर उसमें तो फिर क्वेश्चंस वगैरह भी आ जाते हैं कि मतलब चलो एक क्वेश्चन दे दिया है, उस थ्योरी और उस इक्वेशन को लगा के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करो। वैसे छोटा सा क्वेश्चन होता है बट फिर भी फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री के मुकाबले तो इजी होता है। ठीक है, चलो, लिटोरल, लिम्नेटिक, फोटिक, एफोटिक, बेंथिक। यूफोटिक इन्वॉल्व्स, यूफोटिक में 25 टू 80 मीटर डेप्थ तक जो लाइट पेनिट्रेट करती है ना, इट इज यूफोटिक एंड इट इज अबाउ द कंपनसेशन पॉइंट, प्रेजेंट अबाउ द कंपनसेशन पॉइंट, compensation point. It is present above the compensation point and it is present below the compensation point. ये प्लस सिंबल जो होता है ना, इंडिकेट्स प्रेजेंट। ये जब इस लेयर में आएंगे ना यूफोटिक फोटिक जोन में, जो ये 25 टू 80 मीटर जो आता है ना, इसी को कहते हैं यूफोटिक। और उसके बिलो जो आता है वो है डिस्फोटिक, और इसी को टोटली इक्वली क्या कहते हैं, फोटिक। एक एनसीईआरटी में अच्छा सा क्वेश्चन पाया जाता है, पूछा गया है, रेड एल्गी, ब्लू एंड ब्राउन और ग्रीन एल्गी भी होता है। ठीक है, नाउ आई टेल यू कि ब्लू और ग्रीन का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ना वो सरफेस पे ही रह जाता है, स्पेशली ग्रीन वाला जो एल्गी है यू विल फाउंड मोस्टली ऑन द सरफेस एरिया, मोस्टली ऑन द जोन्स और ऑन द फ्रेश और ऑन द वाटर ऑन द लेयरिंग। बट रेड और ब्राउन का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, यू नो, रेड एल्गी जो होती है ना वो डीपेस्ट पार्ट और डीपेस्ट जोन में पाई जाती है। इनफैक्ट अगर पूछा तो तुमसे पूछा जाता है, एनसीईआरटी पूछता है कि सबसे डीपेस्ट पार्ट में कौन सी एल्गी पाई जाती है, तो वो रेड एल्गी होती है। क्यों रेड एल्गी होती है? क्योंकि रेड का जो वेवलेंथ होता है वो वेवलेंथ सबसे लॉन्गेस्ट होता है, और जितनी लॉन्गेस्ट होती है उसकी पेनिट्रेशन उतनी कम होती है। समझ में आया आपको? वेट आई टेल यू हाउ। आई वाज सेइंग यू देयर आर एल्गी के जो पार्ट्स होते हैं, रेड एल्गी, ब्लू एल्गी और ग्रीन एल्गी। ग्रीन एल्गी जो होता है वो सरफेस पे पाया जाता है। सरफेस पे क्यों? क्योंकि जो ब्लू कलर है बेसिकली इट अपीयर्स टू बी द शॉर्टेस्ट वेवलेंथ, तो जो शॉर्टेस्ट वेवलेंथ है उसकी पेनिट्रेशन वहीं तक होती है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट्स सीन ऑन द सरफेस। बट जो रेड एल्गी है, रेड कलर का जो वेवलेंथ है, इट हैज द हाईएस्ट वेवलेंथ एंड लोएस्ट पेनिट्रेबिलिटी। जिसका वेवलेंथ जितना ज्यादा उसकी पेनिट्रेबिलिटी उतनी कम। So this red algae are found basically in the deepest most portion of the oceanic zone, and the brown algae are found in the transient zone in between the green algae and between the brown algae. Between the red algae, the transient zone is present, that is called as what? That where there is brown algae is found, that is called as transient zone. समझ में आया? अब मैं आपको ये जो लाइट वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है मैं इसको थोड़ा डायग्राम से समझा देती हूँ, which includes, see how the zone है जिसमें हम zones देखने वाले हैं। कौन कौन से zones आते हैं समझे आप लोग? देखो अब ये हमारा ओशियानिक जोन है जहां हम लोग डिफरेंट जोन देखने वाले हैं। सबसे शैलोएस्ट मोस्ट जोन जहां पे प्रोड्यूसर्स और कुछ कंज्यूमर्स भी पाए जाते हैं, ठीक है, ये वाला जोन आप लोगों को पता होना चाहिए। अब जवाब दो, चलो पढ़ाया ही है मैंने पहले ही बहुत बार, ये तो सिर्फ डायग्रामेटिक रिप्रेजेंटेशन देख रहे हैं। क्या हो सकता है ये? We'll keep the pen in the hand itself. Come on, yeah. So what could it be? This is what? Littoral. I have said this is littoral zone, and the another one is limnetic. Now limnetic is further classified into 3 things. This is all limnetic. Limnetic is classified into 3 things, which includes, this is your photic, this is your aphotic, and this is your what? Benthic. समझ में आया? Littoral and limnetic are 2 zones. Littoral is the shallow most, where producers and consumers are present. Consumers are present. समझ में आया? दूसरे जो जोन्स हैं, फोटिक, अफोटिक एंड बेंथिक, this involves photic के further 2 more classifications हैं, which is euphotic and dysphotic. Which is what? Euphotic and dysphotic. Euphotic, dysphotic. This is your compensatory line. Euphotic is above the compensation line, above the compensatory line. डेप्थ है वो कितना है? 25 to 80 मीटर. समझ में आया? How easy it is? ये पूरा हमारा क्या है? फोटिक है. Don't forget. इसमें 2 parts है, euphotic, dysphotic. Then comes aphotic. Aphotic जहां no light, absence, only consumers are found here. Consumers are present. ये benthic, dark zone. And it is the topmost bottom. Microorganisms and decomposers are found here. Microorganisms. यहां हमारा आ जाता है soil. That's it. And one more thing, if you go top to bottom, oxygen content decreases, radiation decreases. From when you come from top to bottom, light radiation decreases, oxygen content radiation decreases. समझ में आया? And there is source of energy, that is our sun. Radiation is falling here, radiation is falling there, radiation is falling here, there. ये है हमारा actual light का phenomenal depth में कैसे penetrate होता है. इसी के साथ हम बिना ये diagram रब किया, I'll tell you one more short example of epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. What is those case? I'll tell you. There is a zone of, I'll draw it over here. There is zone of lake or river based on temperature. सेम चीज है जैसे हमने लाइट में पढ़ा था. ये जो चीज है ये लाइट का कॉन्सेप्ट है. अब यही चीज हम टेम्परेचर में देखें तो 3 बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है which involves 3 things. That is this limnion. The middle one is metalimnion. Hypolimnion. समझ में आया? टेम्परेचर के हिसाब से strata is classified into 3 things which includes epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. ये है हमारा strata 1, strata 2 and strata 3. समझ में आया? Epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. Got it? And now अगर मैं इसे कुछ points लिखवाऊं तो it will be as temperature. The lake strata is classified into 3 basic things which involves epilimnion. बताया था डायग्राम में, ध्यान से देखो. Epilimnion, metalimnion. First of all, it is uppermost part of the lake, which is warmer in summer and cooler in winter, Producers can be seen here. Maximum light is absorbed over here in this zone. Maximum light radiation is absorbed in this zone, that is epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. Now comes metalimnion. Metalimnion is the concept. It says it is the middle zone or the middle strata of the lake based on temperature. It is the middle strata of lake based on temperature. Okay. Then it also says it is moderately warm, or you can also say about it, you can also, it is a moderately warm, or it is a transition zone between epilimnion and hypolimnion, epilimnion and hypolimnion. Floating organisms can seen over here. Floating organisms here. Floating organisms can be seen over here. I have told you based on the temperature strata, lake is classified as epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. Epilimnion, which involves strata 1, metalimnion involves strata 2 and hypolimnion involves strata 3. Now comes hypolimnion is the topmost or bottommost. Hypolimnion is the bottommost zone of lake. Hypolimnion is the bottommost zone of the lake, and it also includes, or it is also called as bottommost zone of the lake, and it is always cooler. It is always cooler. तो आपसे पूछे कि लेक के स्ट्रेटा में अगर सबसे कूलेस्ट पॉइंट हमेशा कौन सा होता है बच्चों? टेल मी. हाइपोलिम्नियन. एंड जहां वार्मर और एपिलिम्नियन, वार्मर और कोल्ड टेम्परेचर दोनों दिखा जाता है लेयर पे, दैट इज एपिलिम्नियन. और अगर आपसे कोई पूछे कि मैक्सिमम लाइट एब्जॉर्प्शन इज सीन इन विच स्ट्रैटम और मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर वेरिएशन इज सीन, इट इज आल्सो एपिलिम्नियन. ओके. एक और अच्छा पॉइंट मैं आपको बता दूं कि मेटालिम्नियन के दो मेटालिम्नियन में आपको पूछना चाहिए था मैम आपने ये दो मेटालिम्नियन क्यों लिखा? क्वेश्चन आता है ना, यहाँ पे तो एक ही लिखा पर ये दोनों, इसके बीच में एक फेस पाया जाता है. समझ में आया आपको? इसके बीच में एक फेस पाया जाता है, दैट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज थर्मोक्लीन. ये इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है बच्चों, डोंट फॉरगेट. थर्मोक्लीन इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है. क्या बोल, व्हाट इज थर्मोक्लीन? राइट इट. Thermocline is the point, thermocline present in between the zones of metamelion and it is the point where temperature varies, or the temperature variation is seen rapidly, where temperature variation is seen rapidly. समझ में आया क्या बोला मैंने आपको? कि थर्मोक्लीन, ये वैसा, पहले तो मैंने आपको समझाया कि जोन ऑफ लेक बेस्ड ऑन टेम्परेचर विच इन्वॉल्व्स एपिलिम्नियन, मेटालिम्नियन एंड हाइपोलिम्नियन. क्लियर? फिर मैंने आपको बताया कि व्हाट इज एपिलिम्नियन, व्हाट इज मेटालिम्नियन एंड व्हाट इज हाइपोलिम्नियन. मैंने आपको हाइपोलिम्नियन में बताया इट इज बॉटम मोस्ट जोन ऑफ लेक एंड इट इज ऑलवेज कूलर. Got it? And second most point I have said, it is thermocline. What is thermocline? It is present in between the zones of metallimnion, and ये इसका advantage क्या है? तो इसका जो temperature variation होता है, which is seen most rapidly, it is seen most in a rapid zone or a rapid area. Now, before going on to this, I'd like to tell you few more points about it. You know, during summer, the bottommost temperature ranges from 4 degrees Celsius and the surface layer temperature becomes 22 degrees Celsius. I'll tell you, mark it over here. During summer, bottommost temperature ranges from 4 degrees Celsius and surface temperature reaches to 22 degrees Celsius during summer. in rivers, in lakes or in ponds. And in winter, again bottommost temperature is of 4 degrees Celsius. Bottommost temperature is of 4 degrees Celsius. And but surface freezes to 0 degrees Celsius. Surface freezes or becomes 0 degree सेल्सियस. लिख लो, ये पॉइंट इंपॉर्टेंट है. इस दोनों पॉइंट से आपको क्या समझ में आया? बताओ. यही कि हमेशा बॉटम मोस्ट टेम्परेचर और बॉटम पॉइंट पे टेम्परेचर जो होता है वो कितना होता है? 4 डिग्री सेल्सियस. समझ में आया? थर्मल बेसिस पे लेक स्ट्रैटा को कैसे डिफाइन किया, इसका ऊपर क्लासिफिकेशन देना है तो ले लो. लेक स्ट्रैटा बेस्ड ऑन टेम्परेचर. लेक स्ट्रैटा बेस्ड ऑन टेम्परेचर. Now give your next point in your light concept, that is the factors affecting the light or the life processes which is affected by the light. So till yet we have seen that what are the effects of what are the light and what are the different zones of light in the lake, right? We have seen, correct? Yes. Now we are going to see what is the effect of light. I have said you just give the next heading, very next heading. What is the effect of light? What is the effect of life on the organism and or on the plant species? So suppose if it shows what effect it shows on photosynthesis, what effect it shows on growth. Suppose this is a seed. This seed grows by what? By taking some out of reaction in it, by taking entrapping through the by taking energy from the sun, right? Then it germinates, then it forms trees. It forms plant, then it forms tree, and then it is used for various other purposes like oxygen and then other purposes. Correct? Got it? Yes. So what it is going on, basically why this phenomena is happening. I'm not going through the process of germination, that has been made you very clear in your 11 chapters of your 11th. So seed germinates and forms a plant. Plant grows and forms a trees. Trees, fruiting plant, angiosperms, gymnosperms. These are all various kinds of plants we can see, right? So what are the effect? How does sunlight plays an important role in the photosynthesis, in the other phenomena of the life organism? First we are going to see photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, it is said that light is essential for photosynthesis. Why? Without light there can be no conversion of the energy, no conversion of the source of the food. So plant necessarily require UV radiation, that is presence of light, for make their own food. So for photosynthesis, sun rays or sunlight is very, very important. Without that, plants cannot make their own food or they cannot be autotrophic in nature. Got it? Yes. And the amount of photosynthesis, how much amount they will prepare their food basically depends on 3 types that include quality of life, intensity of light and duration of light. How longer the lifespan has been intended for the extract or entrapped by the plants to make their own food, the photosynthesis rate depends on that. Secondly, it depends on the quality. What spectrum of light? Basically, if it is talking about quality, what actually it is talking? It's talking about what spectrum of light has been detected, what have been exposed. Got it? Yes. Then comes the intensity and duration of the light. Photosynthesis yields at maximum at equator and tropical areas. Why it is maximum? I have told you, light has been vertically falling on the areas of the equator and tropical areas. That's why we can see tropical rainforest, heavy amount of forest in those tropical areas. Got it? These are those areas. The second most topic comes about the growth. How do growth is affected by the light? It is favored by increased availability of food, moderate light intensity and red light. Why it is said like that? in the source or in the presence of light, plants easily make their own food. When plants get energy, they increase in size. They increase in size, they replicate, they show their growth, and this phenomena is called as growth activity, and it is related to light. Through light they make their own food, through food they get energy, those energy they take it by themselves and trap it towards them and grow in size, leading to formation of a stable individual organism. That is why it is said that increase in size, the growth is very essential. Now, differentiation of various tissues and organism response to light, it is called as photomorphogenesis. When these cells which grows in size and they respond to this kind of light, such phenomena or such process is called as photomorphogenesis. Morphogenesis, genesis means formation of something. Morpho means morphologically and photo means towards light. Morphologically means variation, physical appearance. Second, physical appearance से किससे relate किया जाएगा? Growth से. Photo means it is related to light, and genesis means formation. So this process totally respond of a cell with increase in size, leading to the formation of what process? That is called as photomorphogenesis. Photo means light, morpho means morphologically, genesis means formation. Got that? Now the next point comes is transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration is basically loss of water from the plant surface area or the plant laminal zone, that is called as transpiration. Generally, stomata is open in light time and closes in dark. That is generally all the stomatas are closed during darkness. फिर आप बोलोगे कि मैम आपने लास्ट क्लास में बताया था कि ऐसा एक स्टोमाटा है जो नाइट टाइम में खुला होता है और वो लाइट में बंद होता है. That is adaptation. That is to prevent their excessive loss of water, which is unaccountable and which can be prevented to get lost. Got it? That process is different. That is I have taught you in adaptation, and this I am telling you it is a physiological phenomena going on. Got it? Adaptation towards temperature में मैंने आपको ये चीज बताई थी कि कुछ ऐसे opentia grows leaves in trees to loss of presence of water among them. ऐसे मैंने आपको एक और example बताया था, which I said that stomatal opening in those plants usually take place at night. That is what temperature adaptation. Remember my friends, that is temperature adaptation. Then comes this stomatal, because of light promotes transpiration. As of light leads to increase in temperature. When temperature increases, water from the leaf or water from the plant is lost in the surrounding and leading to formation of transpiration. And transpiration is further enhanced by heating effect of light. As I said you, it is the same process. So here how the transpiration is affected by the light. Now comes the germination. Germination is what? The process of the seed when enhanced and grow of the primule and radical formation, then and they developed into a new plant. That process is called a germination. Then comes how do germination is affected by the light. Germination is basically affected by light in such a way that number of seeds are very sensitive to phototaxis movement. What is phototaxis movement? Response of a seed, response of a plant towards the light is called as phototaxis movement. Got it? So I have said that they are called as sensitive towards the light. I told you this point. I have told you they show phototaxic and different types of movement, and these seeds which shows such type of germination are sensitive towards the light. When the seeds are sensitive towards the light, it is called as photoblastic seeds. And what are these photoblastic seeds? Are basically of two types, that is negatively photoblastic and then comes positively photoblastic. Negatively photoblastic includes which grows or which germinates in the absence of sunlight. When there is no requirement of sunlight for their growth, such type of seeds are called as photoblastic seeds. Negatively photoblastic seeds. The very good example of negatively photoblastic seeds are onion, tomato, phlox. These are what? The examples of negative photoblastic seeds. Photoblastic seeds are those seeds which grow in which are sensitive towards light. These are basically of two types, positively photoblastic and negatively photoblastic. Positively photoblastic grows in the presence of light, which includes viscum, lactuca, rumex. These are the seeds which grow, these are the examples which These are the seeds which require sunlight for their germination, and that process is called as positive germination. Negative germination is the negative photoblastic seeds are seen in the germination taking place in the absence of light, and this basically occurs in onion, tomato and phlox. Got that? Now we are moving on towards next point, that is pigmentation. What is pigmentation? You know what is the pigment which imparts skin color? What is the pigment which imparts color to your skin? That is basically melanin. Melanin is a pigment which is present to your basal layer of your skin. Skin के 5 layer होते हैं, dermis, epidermis. Epidermis is further classified as stratum basal, stratum granulosum, stratum corneum, stratum sinuosum. वो सब चीजें हम जब human tissues पढ़ेंगे, animal tissues तब पढ़ लेंगे, और नहीं भी पढ़े तो आप लोग का 11th का portion cover हो चुका है. ठीक है, चलो. The pigmentation में melanin is a pigment which is present in the basal cell layer, which imparts pigment to the skin color, of the human being. Similarly, this pigmentation depends on few external factors. क्योंकि हम external factors पढ़ रहे हैं like light, temperature, water, क्या ये pigmentation depends on external factor? Yes, pigmentation literally depends on external factor which is light. And how does it depends? It depends on the animals develop dark color in the dim light and light color in the bright light. Whenever the animals are present in the bright environment or bright light, they have brighter in color, and the animals which are present in dark light or dark color, they are dark color, they are darker in color, in the darkness. This is, I have told you regarding to temperature also. Animal residing in high temperature are darker in color, animal residing to low temperature are brighter in color. Remember, temperature and light go hand in hand. Excessive light leading to increase in temperature, there is variation in skin color and other morphological factors. Clear? Then comes in human, prolonged exposure to the skin. Why prolonged exposure of a skin towards a high light or towards the excessive exposure of light causes darkening of skin? Because this melanin production of the cell, melanocytes are the cell in the skin which produces melanin, and these melanocytes get implemented or get enhanced or get activated due to this external factor that is called as light. Why? Because the very good source of vitamin D of your body is light, sunlight, and it is essential for your growth. But when excessive amount of those conversions takes place in the body, melanin is secreted more and more by the melanocytes and leading to the process that is called as tanning. But okay, chalo, ये तो human का concept हो गया. You know, there are few examples or there are few animals which occur light or which gain their color only during the winter season or during the summer season, or the plants which occur their seed color during the summer season, during the spring season, during the autumn season. There can be such organisms, and the very good example or the very good example of the organism is snow hare. What it is? Example is snow hare become very white in winter. Snow hare become very white in winter, and few seeds or few plants of it also gains. I said snow hare becomes very white in winter, and few plants gain coloration during summer. So these are what? Seasonal color variation. So these type of examples are used for seasonal pigmentation. Based on the season when the color varies, based on the season when their marks or when their melanin varies in human or any other organism, that is called as seasonal pigmentation. Based on the season, based on the specific season when these two things varies, that is plant color or organism's color, that type of phenomenal behavior is called as seasonal pigmentation. Now put the next very hot topic of the hot topic, that is movement. So now I have said, we have talked previously about what kind of effect of light can be seen. Now we are moving on towards the movement. What is movement? Locomotion of the organ or the phenomenal organism from one place to another is called as movement. So what kind of movement do plants shows? Plants mostly show small photosynthetic organism, which can be unicellular, show positive phototoxic movement. What is this positive phototoxic movement? Phototoxic movement is the movement towards the light. Movement towards the light. Whenever you have seen, you have added the creepers to your window. Why do they grow across your window? Why doesn't they grow geotopically down towards the earth? You have seen mostly they grow across and climb to your window and grow. Why? Because the sun rays fall towards them and they respond to it and they grow in that direction. That type of movement of the plant is called as phototoxic movement as they grow towards the light or they respond towards the light and in moderate light or in excessive light. The very good example is Chlamydomonas, Euglena, Volvox. These are what unicellular organism, plus they are small organism producing photosynthetic. You know, when plant should bend towards the light, this is called as positive phototropism. When plant shoot, suppose the light falls this way, the plant shoot bends in this way. This is a rays of light which is falling here, and plant shoot bends in this way towards the light. This is a plant and it bends in this way. This type of movement is called as positive phototrophism. Flowers of some plant open or close in response to light, and that type of movement, when the flowers also show movement to some plants open in close in response to light and darkness, this phenomena is called as photonasty. Why it is called as photonasty? These two light flowers have grow either in the presence of light and they avoid to grow in darkness, mostly in light and hardly. Again, I have to give you the concept of mostly and hardly in darkness. ऐसे याद रखो. Flowers of some plants open and close in response to light and few response to darkness. That phenomena is called as photonasty. But ज़्यादातर plant कैसे? Mostly light में grow होते हैं and hardly there are few plants they also respond towards the darkness. That type of movement of the flower is called as photonasty. Nasty is something related to flower and photo is something related to light. Got it? Yes. Phototrophism. Any plant, any unicellular or any small photosynthetic plant, when they respond to sunlight, such type of phenomena is called as what? Is called as phototrophism. When plants respond towards the dark or light zone, that phenomena is called as what? Photonasty. Yes, very good. Now comes nyctinasty. It is leaves fold or the leaves of the some plants. Suppose this is the leaf, it get a fold. It get a fold. This is the leaf. It get to fold. It get to fold in response to darkness. In response to when there is no sunlight. No sunlight. When there is no sunlight, leaf get froze or leaf get closed. That phenomena is called as nyctinasty. And few organism also responds towards the light or does not respond towards the light, but they prefer darkness. And those very good examples are, I'll tell you, planaria, earthworm generally show negative phototrophism. I have told you when there is response towards sunlight, that is phototrophism. When there is no response, then there is response toward darkness, that is negative tropism. Got it? वो वाला concept याद रखना. Positively photoblastic seeds and negatively photoblastic seed. वैसे ही यहाँ पे positive phototrophism and negative phototrophism, ये दोनों concept भी important है. So movement of plant कैसा होता है? Two types का होता है. Positive phototrophism, negative phototrophism. Positive phototrophism is those which shows movement towards the light. Negative phototrophism is those which does not respond towards the light, which does not show movement towards the light, and that phenomena is also called as nyctinasty. And positive phototrophism is also called as what? It is called as photonasty. Now we have clear with the movement, and we have seen very good examples with few points. Planaria and earthworm are those organisms which does not show response to light. That's why they're called as nyctinasty, or they show response to the darkness. Chlamydomonas, Euglena and Volvox are the examples which show small photosynthetic organism. Now comes daily rhythm in animals. What is this daily rhythm? Daily rhythm means some plants respond only in morning. Some plants respond only in afternoon. Some plants respond in dusky, that is evening. Some plants respond in both the zones. What type? Those type of plants are called as? Those type of plants are called as diurnal, nocturnal, auroral, vesperal and crepuscular. Daily rhythm means diurnal. Diurnal is those plants which are active during the daytime or during the whole day, that are called as diurnal plants. And very good examples of is butterflies, birds and few mammals, etc, 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 etc. Mostly butterflies and birds are example of this diurnal. Nocturnal plants are those plants which are active at the night time, active during night period. That plants are called as nocturnal. That organisms are called as nocturnal organism, or that plants are called as nocturnal plants. What are these nocturnal organisms? You can see at your home cockroaches, rat and owl. Rat, cockroaches. You know owl doesn't sleep at night. Why? That is a nocturnal organism. It basically active towards night and it's sleepy in the morning. Got it? Yes. Now comes auroral. Auroral are those plants which are active early morning, or you can also say they are active only in the dark, in the dawn. And the very good example of auroral is bulbacus. Bulbacus or bulbacus, you can take it as the example of the auroral plant. And the another example and the another concept is vesperal. Vesperal are those plants which are active in evening time. Those are the plants which are active in evening time, which involves, very good example is rabbit or dusky, which involves, very good example of it is which is rabbit and dusky. Then comes crepuscular plant, which is dawn and dusky, which is dawn and dusky. These are the plants which are active during dawn and also during dusky. They are active during morning period and they are also active during the light period. Got it? Such type of plant is called as crepuscular plant, that is dawn, and they are available in dawn and dusk period also. Now we are going to move on to the another very good concept of light, that is photoperiodism. Photo is something related to light. Periodism is something related to number and duration. When there is response of the plant, you can write it response of plant to number and duration of day length. They varies according to their day length. What kind of plant can be present in that day length? That is called as photoperiodism. The very three types of classification can be seen is short day plant, long day plant and day neutral plant. What it is? Short day plant, long day plant and day neutral plant. Short day plants are the plants which are only active during a short period of time. The very good example of short day plants are potato, dahlia, artichoke and radish. Remember this example, it is very important. ये आपको morphology में भी पढ़ा जाएगा, anatomy पढ़ोगे, anatomy of flowering plants पढ़ोगे तभी भी आएगा, और अभी ये पढ़ रहे हो तभी भी आएगा. Growth and reproduction of the plants पढ़ोगे ना, growth mineral nutrition वाला chapter, तब उसमें भी आएगा ये photoperiodism वाला concept. Day long plants, short day plants, and what it comes, day neutral plant. Short day plants are, what are the examples? Potato, artichoke, dahlia and radish are the very good examples of the short day plants. Now comes long day plants, those plants which show adaptation or grow whole day towards it, that is called as long day plant, and very good example of it is onion and garlic. And then comes day neutral plant. These are the plants which can grow in any season, either in night or any not in season, either in day or in a night form. That type of plant is called as what? Day neutral plant, and very good example of it is wheat, rice, maize. It does not require particularly night time or daytime to grow, something like that. Okay. Now comes phenology. Phenology is a very small concept which is important in this is timing of a seasonal activities of an organism is controlled by photoperiodism. What photoperiodism is what? What are though organism or few organism which responds according to the photoperiodism, the amount they get the light, the amount or the period they don't get the light. The study of those concepts is called as phenology. What? Suppose I'll give you example. Bird migration. Bird migration totally depends on photoperiodism. How does it depends on photoperiodism? I'll tell you. Nigerian birds from the northern hemisphere migrates to the southern hemisphere. Nigerian birds migrate from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere as when days tends to shorten in the northern hemisphere. Similarly, when days return back in northern hemisphere, when they turn long days, again these birds, Nigerian birds, travel to the northern hemisphere. So migration of birds basically depends on what? Shorten of the day. Shorten of the day is what? Photoperiodism. Got the concept? How it depends. And this study of overall concept is called as what? Phenology. Leaf fall and dormancy. Leaf fall also depends on the photoperiodism, or also depend more days when days are long in summer, leading to what? Days are long. What is the season? Summer. So autumn. Autumn will lead to what? Fall and shed of the leaves. Leaves are shed off during the shortened days, and leaves again come back during the longer days. Got it? This is what the concept of how the leaf fall and dormancy depends. Hibernation. Hibernation is what? Cold-blooded organisms or ectothermic organisms which does not get adapted, does not change their temperature according to their surrounding. Those I have taught you this in temperature. जाके पन्ने पलटो अपने समझ में आएगा क्या बोल रही हूँ मैं. तो कंसेप्ट ये कहता है हाइबरनेशन का कि few cold-blooded organisms go to sleep for almost the cold season, or when the days are shortened and nights are longer, they have a long sleep, and when days again get normal, they get back to their activity, they get back to their procedure, they follow all the life processes, and they again in the search of food. That phenomena basically depends on what? Basically depends on the day of light, what kind of light and what kind of everyday light they are gaining it. That is through what? That is through photoperiodism. Basically जब day short day और long day का जब concept आता है ना, तो वो किस पे depend करता है? It depends basically on what amount of light they are getting, what amount of things they are getting for that period when they respond. That concept is called as what? Photoperiodism. Now comes flowering plant. Flowering plants are also called as angiosperms. याद होगा ये आप लोगों को? नहीं याद होगा तो अभी आगे पढ़ेंगे रिप्रोडक्शन के बाद वाला चैप्टर. ठीक है, चलो. So फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स जो है, फ्लावरिंग किस सीजन में कौन से फ्लावर आते हैं, ये ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स ऑन फोटोपीरियोडिज्म. लॉन्ग डेज, शॉर्ट डेज. लॉन्ग डेज बेसिकली रिफर्स टू अ समर सीजन, शॉर्ट डेज बेसिकली रिफर्स टू अ विंटर सीजन. विंटर में दिन छोटे होते हैं, ठंडियों में देखा होगा आपने रातें लंबी लंबी होती हैं, एंड यू फील कोल्ड, यू फील लॉट ऑफ स्लीप, यू डोंट वांट टू गो टू स्कूल इन द मॉर्निंग बट यू हैव टू गो बिकॉज योर पेरेंट्स आर लाइक नो यू हैव टू गो. दैट्स व्हाट द कॉन्सेप्ट इज हियर ऑल्सो, बट नॉट इन फ्लावर्स. ऑर्गेनिजम्स में भी वही होता है. फ्लावर्स में क्या कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कि morning, this photoperiodism, more of the flowers bloom or blossoms during the summer season or the spring season, and it sheds off or it lie down in winter season. But there are few flowers also which blossoms in winter season. We get beautiful mograss in winter season, we get beautiful sunflowers in sunny season, sunny rays summer season. These are what? Short length and long days example. समझ में है? मोगरा की बात करो तो short day plant, sunflower की बात करो तो long days plant. sunflower में तो नाम ही है sun का. It requires sun, it requires summer, long days plants to grow, to blossom. That's why they are called as long day plants. समझ में है? How angioflowering also depends on the photoperiodism. Then comes vegetative growth. The growth of some organisms or the organisms like potatoes, onions basically depends on short day, long day. ये potato कैसे grow होता है? Vegetative reproduction. याद है? Vegetative propagation. Small bud, then fill पूरा growth, and then new organism is formed to budding process. याद है? Budding का कुछ vegetative propagation में पढ़ा होगा हमने. आलू कैसे उगाते हैं? याद आ रहा है? कुछ पहले का पढ़ा हुआ है ये सब. ठीक है. Dahlia is a beautiful flower which also it mostly seen is short day plant. Got it? So this kind of propagation or vegetative growth varies according to date, short day and long day. That type of example is also a concept of phenology. मैंने आपको क्या बताया? phenology एक वैसा concept है जो timing depend करता है photoperiodism की. जो timing of seasonal activities and organism is controlled by photoperiodism. Then comes animal breeding. animal breeding is very beautiful concept. Why? Because few animals breed in short day and few animals also breed in long day. The animals which breed in short day are goat, sheep, deer. These are the organisms which breed in short day. So अगर मैं आपको बात करूँ short day organism, क्या क्या है वो? गोट, शीप, डियर, ये सब कैसे ब्रीड होते हैं? ये सब शॉर्ट डे, शॉर्ट ब्रीडर्स है ये सब, गोट, शीप एंड डियर. समझ में आया? और यही अगर मैं लॉन्ग डे ब्रीडर्स की बात करूं तो लॉन्ग डे ब्रीडर्स होते हैं, प्लांट्स होता है ना, दैट इज स्टार्लिंग, टर्की, लॉन्ग डे फ्लावर्स, राइट? लॉन्ग डे ऑर्गेनिज्म होते हैं. लॉन्ग डेज प्लांट आर स्टार्लिंग, turkeys, these are the type of organism or animals which say long days breeders. These breed usually during long days. Such type of breeders are called as long day breeders. Okay? And rabbits and guinea pigs. Another example मैं आपको दे दूं तो अगर न्यूट्रल डे की बात करूं, न्यूट्रल डे ऑर्गेनिज्म, न्यूट्रल डे ब्रीडर्स क्या हो सकते हैं? कुछ पता है? न्यूट्रल डे ब्रीडर्स का सबसे अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है रैबिट एंड गिनिया पिग्स. बच्चों एग्जाम्पल मत भूलना, ठीक है? एग्जाम्पल इंपॉर्टेंट है और काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, रैबिट एंड गिनिया पिग्स. क्लियर? तो मैं आपको ये सब रब करने से पहले एक एग्जाम्पल बताती हूँ कि मैंने आपको आज क्या क्या पढ़ाया. मैंने आपको लाइट पढ़ाया. लाइट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. फिर उसके बाद हमने उसका रेलेवेंसी देखा. क्या है उसका रेलेवेंसी? How it affects photosynthesis, how it affects growth, how it affects transpiration, how it affects other phenomena, and then we have come to how it affects movement. What kind of movement? Positive phototropism, negative phototropism. Phototropism in plants is called as photonasty and negative phototropism is called as nyctinasty. There are few organisms which show negative phototropism, that is planaria, earthworm. याद आए? ये लिखा हुआ था ना, planaria, earthworm generally show नेगेटिव फोटोट्रोपिज्म. फिर मैंने आपको बताया कि कुछ वैसे प्लांट्स हैं जो सुबह सुबह रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, जो शाम में रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, क्यों इवनिंग में, रात में. उनके बेसिस पे हमने क्लासिफाई करा डायर्नल, नॉक्टर्नल, ऑरेलल, वेस्पेरल, क्रिस्पिकुलर. मॉर्निंग में जो एक्टिव होते हैं उसको डायर्नल बोलते हैं. नॉक्टर्नल उनको बोलते हैं जो रात में एक्टिव होते हैं. एग्जांपल दिया मैंने आपको, इसका एग्जांपल दिया मैंने बटरफ्लाइज, मोस्ट बर्ड्स एंड मैमल्स. इसका रात में वाला एक्टिव जो होता है उसका है रैट, आउल एंड कॉकरोचेस. देन आई हैव टोल्ड यू ऑरल आर द प्लांट्स व्हिच आर बेसिकली एक्टिव इन dawn, and Balbicus is a very good example of it. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. Then comes Vesperil which is active in dusky season or the dusky evening or bright evening, that is rabbit. Crepuscular which is active in both dawn and dusk season. Then I have taught you beautiful concept, that is photoperiodism. Photoperiodism is the length or the number response of light. To what length, duration of light does it respond, the organism respond to it. इसमें मैंने आपको देखा short day length, long day length plant, day neutral plant. Day neutral के organisms मैंने आपको कुछ यहाँ बताए हैं, rabbit and guinea pigs. Please याद रखना इसको, don't forget it. फिर मैंने आपको बताया there are few concepts which is affected by photoperiodism, that is phenology. Phenology कितने number of plants, कितनी factors affect होती हैं photoperiodism के लिए, उसको कहते हैं. That includes bird migration, leaf fall dormancy, hibernation, flowering, vegetative growth and animal husbandry. Animal breeding और animal husbandry भी affect होता है, that is different concept. ठीक है. फिर मैंने आपको short day breeders बताए, long day breeders बताए. Short day breeders were goat, sheep and deer. इनको short पीरियड में ये ब्रीड होते हैं. लॉन्ग डे ब्रीडर्स आई हैव टोल्ड यू स्टार्लिंग एंड टर्कीज. एंड देन आई हैव टोल्ड यू डे न्यूट्रल डे ब्रीडर्स, दैट इज रैबिट एंड गुनिया पिग. Right, it is rabbit and guinea pigs, and that's what we are completing on towards light. Next class will begin it from here, that is soil. How soil affect, what is the concept of soil, what are the few factors of soil, what are the few layers of soil. We will see process of formation of soil, we will see weathering of rocks, what kind of layers, what kind of process the soil goes to form a soil. Weathering of rocks, elevation, transmission, wreckering, weathering, everything we're gonna see. What are alluvial soils, what are types of soils, what is flowing water, etc, etc, etc. आगे की कहानी आगे देखेंगे. ठीक है, चलो. but आज every day I come, I give you some motivation, I teach you many things, I make sure that you understand things what I'm teaching. But that is not enough. You know why? Because ये तो मेरा काम हो गया. What is your job? The concept comes what you are up to, how much you are done in with it. When we are going with every sessions of ecology, कितना आता है आपको? Just make one big question mark on yourself and ask how much I am liable after completing 6 to 7 टॉपिक्स, ब्यूटीफुल टॉपिक्स जिससे मैक्सिमम चांसेस है आंसर आने के अपने इकोलॉजी का वेरी फर्स्ट चैप्टर. हाउ मच डू आई नो, हाउ मच हैव आई गॉन. Now you go and read the NCERT with your each and every discussion. You will understand beta salinity क्या होता है, photoperiodism क्या होता है, light क्या होती है, किसका short day, long day, क्या concept है, अब सब पल्ले पड़ेगा. अब पूरी राम कहानी समझ में आएगी. Clear? Tomorrow we are going to see with soil, and then we are going to wait for a most awaited topic, that is regulators, conformers and reformers, unke adaptations and then unke responses, and then we will move on to our population, and then we'll complete to the topic and we'll move to the next topic. That's all. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, and please do watch the videos, because when you watch it, you understand it, and when you understand it, you try to concise yourself and get restricted to notes, solve question paper. After all, अब तो नीट एग्जाम आ ही गया है. जिनको अभी इस साल देना है and जिनको नेक्स्ट ईयर देना है उनको ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट. जिनको इस साल देना है उनके लिए भी ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट. गिव योर बेस्ट. Any doubt, please let me know, and please solve, and good luck. And those who are appearing for exam, a very good luck to them. Okay, chalo, all the best. Thank you. Bye bye.